Welcome to Trey's Theory Corner!
What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here, and on today's episode of Trey's Theory Corner, we're going to be taking a look at the Devil's Interval, the Diabolus in Musica, the mighty tritone. A tritone can also go by two other names, an augmented fourth and a diminished fifth. It's an interval that's so dissonant and evil and unresolved sounding that it was literally banned in Renaissance church music. It's the most dissonant interval other than a minor second, and it is gnarly. The reason this particular interval is so important is that because it's so unresolved and unstable sounding, it creates this longing to resolve. So even though by itself it sounds very dissonant, when you put it into a chord like a dominant seventh chord, which is the most common one, right, there's that tritone, the most common chord that has a tritone in it, it just begs to be resolved. Create this tension that just sort of hangs there until you resolve it. And you can feel that resolution. What happens is we took the tritone and we resolved it. So that's the most common kind of resolution from a tritone, to take each of those notes and move one of them down and one of them up. Right? You can hear that inside the notes of that chord. It can also resolve to a minor just as easily. That kind of hurts to stretch it like that. One of the really interesting things about a tritone is that it splits the octave perfectly in half. So if we take a C and we go up a tritone, we get an F sharp. If we go up a tritone from F sharp, we're back at C. So a tritone inverts to a tritone. It's literally like you take the octave, any two notes that are an octave apart, exactly in the middle of the two is a tritone. Bam. In any given major scale or key, there are exactly two tritones. But because of the phenomenon that I discussed earlier, where the tritone splits the octave exactly in half, those two tritones use the exact same two notes. So if we're in the key of C, the two tritones are B and F and B. So that's a little bit confusing, but all you have to know is that there are two of them. A tritone consists of 3 whole steps or 6 half steps. And on the guitar, it looks a number of different ways. If we go up 6 frets, we get a tritone from whatever note. In this case, C and F sharp. So then we can also go up 1 string and up 1 fret to get a tritone on any pair of strings except for these two, which as I've stated before, is a major third apart. So we have to change the shape, in which case it looks like this. Go up 1 string and up 2 frets. Like all the intervals we've discussed so far, the tritone shows up in all kinds of chords all over the place. The thing that sort of makes it distinct is the fact that it creates this need to be resolved wherever it shows up. Typically, it's not a sound that you really sit on and live in. There are many notable exceptions to this. For instance, the blues uses a dominant seventh for the 1 chord, which means when we go through the whole progression and get back home, it still feels resolved even though there's a big fat tritone in that chord. That's just kind of a context and style thing. One of my favorite examples of a tritone in recorded music is in Dream Theater's Overture 1928 when he plays. That's the tritone right there. Another great example of a tritone in recorded music is the song Black Sabbath by the band Black Sabbath from the album Black Sabbath. Well, then I guess the only thing that's left to do is to sing a song.
Bang your head when you hear the tritone. Make some noise for the devil's sound. Bang your head when you hear the tritone. Make some noise for the devil's sound.
So long story short, the tritone is the most intriguing interval, in my opinion, by far. But it's also a little bit dangerous. So it's very important that you understand it and know what it's good for before you use it willy-nilly, because it can be a very gnarly and intense dissonance. And if that's what you're going for, then you're probably going to want to use a lot of them. Either way, a very important interval to understand and respect. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe so that you can get notifications the next time I put up one of these videos, which is going to be 2 weeks from today. You're definitely not going to want to miss this one because we're going to cover fifths, which you might know better as a power chord. So I'll see you then.
What is this that stands before me? Figure in black that points at me. Turn round quick and start to run. Turns out I'm the chosen one. Oh no!
First thing you got to think about when it comes to music theory. Number one, what the fuck is it? What the fuck is music theory? If you already know the answer, please don't shout it out, because you'll look like a crazy person at home by yourself. But really, in order for you to understand what you even need it for or why you should care, you got to know what it is. And before we go any further, I have to define what I think of music theory as for you, so that we can take this journey together to improve our musical knowledge and understanding.